Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, June 26th, 2023. Now, I said a few weeks ago that we were at the halfway point. We are that much closer to the halfway point. In fact, this will be the last broadcast for this month, so we'll have to call it the halfway point at this time. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit. I see the lights up at the top there. Okay, so again, it is midway through June, which means that it's hot, and it's not too bad here in Georgia. I know that it is a lot worse in Texas, and probably out even further west. I'm assuming, but I know Robert has been sharing temperatures with me, and yeah, it sounds miserable. So I'm sorry for that. Now, I will also point out that we had some storms come through just what was it, last night or the night before? I guess it was last night. We had some storms come through. We have friends over in Alabama. They had showed us some video of the storms that were hitting them. And we had some scary looking weather coming this direction. Overhead, it was really rough looking. The weather was really warm. And normally when you see something like that and you see temperature variations, there's a likelihood you could have a tornado or something pop up. But thankfully we didn't have anything pop up. We did get some rain, and we had some tremendous lightning. I mean, it was some boomers, some really good solid boomers and flash. So everything is good here. No issues that I know of. We do have some friends who live a little further east of us, and they live in an old town. There's a square, as they call it, in the middle of their town, and apparently some of the great big trees that have been growing in that square for years got knocked over. So pretty big mess over there. But we're okay, and I hope everybody else is as well. We're going to see what we can talk about tonight. I know that I mentioned before that next Monday I won't be doing a live stream. So I'm also kind of celebrating early for the 4th of July. I have the American Hot Rod muscle shirt, whatever, muscle car shirt on in an effort to promote the 4th of July and the fantastic holiday that it truly is. Let's see who's here tonight. And if you're new here, I encourage you to participate. I like to have people ask questions. I like to have other people in our chat over there. They help out by responding at times if needed. And we usually get a lot of good feedback from everybody. And also, we try to focus on classic cars, 50s, mid 50s up to mid 70s. That's kind of the bracket that I think that most of us lean towards. Let's put it that way. So let's see who's here tonight. And first in is Tommy. Oh, you know what? Let me point out something else. I apologize for this not showing up sooner on YouTube. Normally what I do is I come out and I'm getting ready to eat or something, and I get this thing going and I hit the go button and I just walk away. I don't think anything of it. StreamYard will propagate the whole thing and activate the YouTube section. So I went in the house, I was eating and talking to my wife and playing with the dog, and I come out here at it was like a quarter till or something. And I thought, okay, let me make sure I got this going and that going. I looked down at the screen and it did not start the program. So that's why we have a late notice on this. I apologize. Okay, so first in, Tommy from the Busted Knuckle Garage in hot Birmingham. Hope everyone is doing okay. Glad you're here, Tommy. And as far as I know, we're all good. At least I know my family is. But glad you're here. Jerry is checking in. It says the Money Pit, but he says, good evening to all from Lubbock, Texas, on our way to Utah and then Missouri. Thumbs up for Barry. By the way, great video on part 9 of the Cobra build. Thank you, Jerry. I'm glad you're here. I don't know if you're actually still watching or not, or just giving some feedback on your trip, but thank you for that. Terry Keithley, I see you. I see you, Terry. You're here. It's right there. It showed up. Evening, all, Barry. Please hit the thumbs up. And, well, there's more to that. Thumbs up for Barry. Thank you kindly. Thank you, Terry. Robert checking in. The Infernal Craftsman. Glad you're here. Let's see, Rick. Miserable rainy thunderstorms here in New Jersey. Looking forward to some good car talk tonight. Let's hope so. Again, I encourage conversation. I like to have people interact. Glad you're here, Rick. Dave Tyson. Good evening, all. Glad you're here, Dave. Whoop, wait, Bill. There we go. That's a little better. Troy Justin. Evening, all from coastal Georgia. Your collection of parts is starting to look like a car. Yes, it is. There's still a lot to do. You know, I try to demonstrate the initial assembly process, but there's still things that need to be fine-tuned. I haven't even looked at test fitting the torque boxes yet. That's a whole nother section that has to be dealt with. But overall, yeah, it's coming along. It is coming along. Steve's Money Pit. Good evening, all, from a cooler day finally in Wisconsin. Glad you're here, Steve. Crash Rider from Southern Indiana. Greetings to everyone. I won't be able to catch the live chat, but we'll watch the video later. Please give Joe Daddy a like. I agree with Jerry that the Part 9 video was great. Okay. I was actually kind of curious about that. You know, I'm transitioning still from the way I did my videos, which I thought was okay in my approach of how I showed, maybe over the shoulder look or from the side, how I was doing things. But I'm recognizing that most people seem to be liking the handy cam up on the head type thing. And how do I want to put it? I worry a little bit sometimes am I showing something that's beneficial? Is it actually helping somebody, or is it going to become boring? I don't know. And that's the hard part. I know that not everybody actually is out there restoring cars. And some people like to just be entertained. They want to see progress and stuff going on, and I get that. So I'm really trying to narrow that down to keep everybody in kind of a happy place. I did have one person, and I'm not upset with them. They complained that they didn't like the new format, and I don't think it's well, I guess it is a new approach that I'm using, but I asked them. I said, why? What don't you like? And I never got a response. So that's the kind of thing, whenever somebody makes a comment on the video or anywhere on any of my media, right? They make a comment. Well, that doesn't help me if you say, I don't like this. Well, tell me why you don't like it. That helps. Or, tell me why you do like it. Those are the type of things that feedback helps me become a better creator and make better videos. So just keep that in mind. If you have any complaints or anything, I don't get upset with it. I do get upset if somebody is, how do I want to, if they're just mean, if they're just, this is the stupidest thing I ever saw. Well, typically I'm just going to delete that, get it out of there. I don't need that kind of feedback. I need, positive or creative feedback. Anyway, glad you're here. I did say Crash Rider. Yes. And there's another bell. Okay. Leonard. Evening all from the high desert. Glad you're here, Leonard. I like your little symbol there. Your little, looks like a cactus and a moon or something. Or maybe that's the sun next to your title or next to your statement. Steve Grimes. Good evening from soggy, humid, southern PA. Glad you're here, Steve. Sorry about the soggy, humid. That's no fun. I could say, at least it's, never mind. The word that nobody likes. It's moist. Yeah. Robert, we are down to 102 this evening, 107 plus and humid the next couple days with lows of 82-ish. So no complaints about weather everywhere else. Yeah. Okay. Woo. That's hot. Nandu, hi everyone. Hope you're doing good. Barry, I'm enjoying the Cobra Jet videos. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Nandu. Tommy, we were supposed to hit 100 a couple of days this week. Yeah, I know that I was looking at our weather, and I think earlier it said we're going to hit like 100 degrees on Friday or something, but now it's only 97. Only 97. Yay. uh, Tracy Renko. Good evening, all. Good evening, Tracy. Glad you're here. Simone, hooked on classics. Hi, Barry and all. Hi, Simone. Glad you're here. And she said, I spent quite a few hours working on my Kawasaki 600 today. Well, that's a good thing. You need to take it out for a ride, and if the weather's decent. Troy, the storms died out by the time they hit the coast. Good thing, because we had a lot of rain over the past 3 weeks. That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Nandu, the weather has been crazy lately. We had hail this morning. Okay, that is crazy. I'll give you a bell for crazy weather. No, don't need any hail. Dave Conville's checking in twice. Good evening and good evening. Only one bell, Dave. You only get one bell. Lynn. Hello, people. Hello, Lynn. Jerry says, Barry, I found a 49 Chevy and a 62 Thunderbird. The 49 has almost no rust or rot. The 62 is in good shape, but needs a truckload of TLC. What else? Oh, TLC to see what else needs to be addressed. 49 Chevy. 62 Thunderbird. That's not bad. That's not bad. I like the shape of that 62. Rick, you've been playing with the dog. How's the cat doing tonight? Well, let's check. Oh, the cat's doing good. Sitting on top of the toolbox on a paint cabinet. Cat's doing really good. Thank you, Rick. Rusty's Restoration checking in from southern Indiana. Glad you're here, Rusty. Rick Gain, how does one remove a snapped off titanium bolt in an aluminum wheel? Hard to drill, and stud removers just round it off even more. Ooh, I think you just go get another wheel. What has a titanium bolt in it? What are you trying to fix? A titanium bolt. Robert says wire EDM to remove the bolt. Yes. What is EDM? Electro. EDM machine is something that would take it out. Yeah. Can't remember what EDM stands for though. I know it's electro disperse. No, not. I don't remember. You have to look it up. Michael Pagliarini, hello all from nasty, sticky Rhode Island. Is it moist there too? Larry Bibby, howdy, hi y'all. Hey Barry, what's going on with Basket Case? Basket Case is dormant. It is sitting outside under a tarp. And it's going to stay there until I get this car done, at least. And I still have to gather parts. So it is what it is. If I've got somebody that I'm a customer car that I'm working on, that takes priority over anything else of mine at this point. So that's where I'm at. Good question. Simone, I have rattling brake caliper on both the Cortina to work on tomorrow. Even though I used my torque wrench to tighten it, it is still an issue. Okay, so it may not be. I don't know what the configuration is. I really don't. I doubt that it's because of your torque. It's probably the configuration of the caliper. I know some of them they ride on the bolts. They don't actually. I don't know. Without seeing it, I can't tell you what it may need. But if you torqued it, it's probably not the bolts. It's probably something else that's rattling. Jerry says, I like the new format, especially the detail you showed the salvage of the original parts and using replacement parts to repair the damage. Thank you, Jerry. Leonard's asking Simone, how are things across the pond? I assume he's asking Simone. Robert is saying, all of my wrenches are calibrated to the German torque, good and tight. German torque specs. That's what we always said. German torque, good and tight. Simone says very humid in the UK. Yep. And Jerry says we're at 107 degrees on Saturday. RVs don't fare well in this temperature. That is a valid point. Yeah, that is rough on the RVs. Rick, the Country Cobra is a really, really, really long extended version of Will It Run and Drive video. Yeah. Leonard, here in the high desert, we're starting to warm up, getting close to the century plus 15. Ooh, but it's a dry heat, remember? Yeah, it's a dry heat. Yeah, just drink lots of water. Simone, I only recently put the engine back in the bike. I need to replace the radiator and many O-rings. I also need a battery and a chain kit. Well, you still got a lot of work to do then, but I'm sure you'll get it together. Jerry is checking in. Hi, Barry. Howdy, y'all. Checking in from Boise and rubbing Robert's nose in a wonderful 80-degree, no humidity day here. He was also sad he couldn't eat at the burger place I ate at. Okay. That does sound sad. Troy, Jerry, if I wasn't knee deep in the Mustang, I would be interested in the Thunderbird. Yeah, that's another thing that I have. I had somebody send me a link to a car for sale, and I don't know if it's really legit or not. I'm hoping that it is, and I don't want to go into too many details on it. I will say it is a fastback. It's a 65, 66 fastback, and the person has it advertised, and apparently may not be advertising it for not enough money. Let's put it that way. It is a car that needs to be restored. I am in contact with that person, and hopefully, we can figure out if it's a real deal or not, and then pursue it. If it is, I will have to buy the car if it works out, but I don't know for sure. So, being knee deep, I understand that. Jerry says, Robert, you better not block my message. Troy Jessup, my daughter walked in and said, you need to stop saying moist. It's a terrible word. It really is. What if I said hoist or joist? It's a hoist or joist. Yeah. That's the same word, right? Just one different letter. Foist. There's another one. Foist. Yeah. I think it's all of them. I think it's all you can put together. Rick, Volkswagen wheel, 16 titanium bolts hold the center of the wheel onto the exterior ring. Many of them broke off when a friend was trying to remove them. Yeah, that's probably not a good combination. Titanium and aluminum, that doesn't make any sense. Two very dissimilar metals. And, yeah, that just doesn't sound like any kind of good can come out of that. Simone, gone midnight here, and I'm sweating with all the windows open. Ooh, that's no fun. Simone says the calipers are non-floating. The left side has no rattle. Okay. Robert is saying that your pads are probably loose, not the caliper and rattling. And I would probably agree with that. Leonard says y'all been having some crazy weather there, talking about over across the pond. Simone says I'm filming the work tomorrow, so I'll upload results, be it good or bad. Okay. Rusty says check out pics of my 68 chop top this week. Okay. Let me download those. I remember you showed those last week. Let me see if I still have. Yeah, I have. Let me. I'm going to delete that one and that one. Okay. And for your entertainment, wait a minute. Let me just stop that a second. For your entertainment, we'll just post the 65 or 6 Studebaker up again, so you can look at that while I'm trying to download these pictures. All right, and okay. So we're going to pull down the Hot Rod Studebaker. You never hear about Studebakers. Like, people write music. You never hear about a Studebaker. You hear about, like, Hot Rod Lincoln or My Little Deuce Coupe. You never hear, there goes my Hot Rod Studebaker. So, here's some pictures. That is with the top on, and that is with the top off. That looks pretty good, I think. Just my opinion, as a top off, or let's say, not really convertible, but I do like the way the lines work with that. That's going to be very interesting to make that all come together. Yep. Cool. Thanks for sharing those. Get back up here. Leonard says, "What, another project? LOL." Yeah, you never know. Rick, did you ever get any updates from the guy in Texas that bought the stray pony? I think I did, and I thought I posted that somewhere. Um, if I remember correctly, he painted it like a medium dark blue. That's all I remember. I don't know if he did anything else. I know he got running and driving, but I haven't heard from him for a while. In a while, I should say. Good question, though, Rick. Simone, hoist a joist that's moist. Okay. Busted Knuckle looking for a hood for 59. Looking for a hood for a 59 Chevy, close to Alabama, like a 59 Impala. Is that what you're saying? Because 59 Chevy is kind of a broad scope there. You need to give us a focus as to what you're looking particularly for. Simone says that's a stunner. Love it. Yeah. It looks even better with the big fat tires under. I don't know if I have that picture. No, I must have. Did I delete that one? I might have. Yeah. That's the one I deleted. I deleted the wrong picture. Okay, that's all right. Whoops, Terry Baptist. Hello from Pinellas Park, Florida. Glad you're here, Terry. And Robert, I need to make room for one of those superfluous. You see that? I said that without even hesitating. Superfluous project cars, and figured out how to get it here. I think shell with no engine and trans would be fine on my trailer. We can figure that out. Because, there's a car sitting out here just like that. It could be a surprise. You should make it a surprise. Yeah. Yeah, make it a surprise. Steve's Money Pit. I like the current format except when your head is too high cutting off view. Come on, everyone, give Barry a finger up. I think he means thumb. A thumbs up. A thumb. Don't give me a finger up. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Yeah, that's the hard part with when I do that. I'm trying to consider, I take my phone and I do a preview of what I'm looking at, but I don't want to keep the phone like in front of me all the time when it would just be ridiculous to do that. And so when I'm trying to show something, I almost have to like, here's what I'm looking at. I'd have to tilt my head way back and point at it. So, but I get what you're saying. Troy says, what Chevy? And Tommy says, it is an Impala, but all the hoods are the same. Okay. Well, I don't know what all was made in 59. I mean, because it could have been a truck. That's what I was getting at. Is it a truck? Is it a car? I don't even know what else they made besides the Impalas. Now that I think about it. I mean, it had the Bel Air, the Impala. Did they have anything else? I don't think it had anything in between, did they? Like a smaller car? Anyway, so 59 Impala. Okay. Have you checked with Auto Metal Direct, AMD? Have you checked with them to see if they have it? Because it's possible. Terry Baptist, is the Cobra Jet going to be mostly a drag car? I don't think so. I think the intent is to make it a a street car. It'll be a resto mod style, from what I understand. So it'll be something that you can drive, but you could drag race if you chose to. So that's what I know. Leonard is giving me the hang loose symbol. So it's either hang loose or call me. One of those two. Interchangeable, I guess. Troy says, I know a guy who has a truck hood, but that won't help you. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But I don't know if Auto Metal Direct has those or not. I know they were. I mean, they're always coming up with new stuff, but I have not kept up with that particular body design, so I don't know for sure. Okay, whew. We're all caught up, and you know, as I'm going through the Mach 1 project, and I'm doing these again headshot videos and all these different things, I am trying to keep in mind the process. Like I mentioned it, I put it on there. Sequence is scored, right? And somebody actually asked me, what does that mean? And like when I was trying to fit the shock towers, and the aprons were fighting me because that's not how they would have been put together, I guess. They would have had the frame rail and the shock tower and the aprons probably put on, or all kind of put on at the same time. So when I'm saying sequence is scored, again, that's an old military thing I learned when I was in basic training. The actual thing that happened when we were in basic training, and they're showing you how to throw a grenade, how to do first aid to somebody, how to identify tanks, and all these different things that you did. But one of the biggest things was disassembly and reassembly of your M16, right? So if any of you have ever had an experience with an M16 or an AR-15 or any of those rifles, you probably recognize that you can take that thing apart in a variety of ways, right? There are many different ways in the process. So what they told us was that when they gave us a lesson and said, this is how you take this apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. The sequence was to take it apart and put it back together. So whenever they tested us, they would say that, do this, and sequence is scored. And what that meant was, don't do it in any other order than what we have shown you. So when I make that reference, it's like saying, in this case, you shouldn't be putting on the aprons and the shock tower on top of the frame rail. They should, after you have the firewall in. It should be, kind of, well, but you have to do it after the firewall is in, honestly. But you should do the firewall, have the frame rail, the aprons all attached to each other, at least the rear section, and slide them in and lock them in place, and then you're done. It's where it needs to be. So that's what I was getting at when I was saying that. So my intent is, once, after I'm doing adjusting and all those sort of things, I want to get the shock towers locked in to the aprons. To the frame rails. Once those are in place, then I can do that sequence, and I'll probably do it to where I take the jig stuff off of the the frame rails as well, just to make it easier to slide them in. So that was what I was intending there. I think we already said this. Troy says, no, guys, a truck hood, but that won't help you. Okay. Leonard, they keep showing a Chevy yard full of 59 and 60s on YouTube. Yeah, haven't kept up with them. Terry, does a 59 El Camino hood fit a 59 Impala? Leonard says yes. And Tommy says the El Camino hood should be the same. And I believe, there's nothing different there. Brian B., hello everyone. I hope I've been watching the live cast every week, but haven't commented in a while, so just saying hello to all. Glad to hear, Brian. Hope all is well with you. Oh, here's some other things. As I'm doing this this test fit and mock up and all these sort of things, another piece of the puzzle is the rack and pinion. You know, the car had the engine, the belly brace, whatever, you know, if you want to call it that, went underneath the engine, connected to two frame rails. The new setup that's going under this is going to have a rack and pinion, and that rack and pinion bolts into that location. So you lose that belly bar, and you end up with the rack and pinion taking its place. And there's going to be some, you know, obviously some test fitting with that to make sure all of that lines up, along with actually bolting in again the export brace. So all that stuff just has to lock in together. And then we're probably, you know, I think the plan still is to use the upper half or so of the original firewall. And that way it matches everything up there as it should be. I know that there's variations to this firewall that aren't the same as the original. So we're going to try to incorporate all of that. The only issue that I have, two issues, is the gap right now between the firewall and the aprons. It was a lot bigger when I made the video, and I played with it a little more, did some adjusting the clamps, and I got it much closer. And then the cowl, something's interfering on the passenger side and making it sit just a little bit on the high side. Now, of course, that cowl, even though it has a formed shape, some of that is probably going to compress somewhat to match. It has some flexibility. The real trick is putting it all kind of together with clamps and screws and everything else. I want to hang the fenders, set the hood up, everything on there that I can to verify that height. So, in other words, if I don't want to bring push the cowl down, if it means it's not going to line up with the hood. So all these things have to interact with each other to make things work, and that's, you know, I can't stress that enough. How much test fitting needs to take place for all this. Michael, I used to have people being that. Wait a minute. I used to have people, I guess, bring the bolt carrier. Sorry, it says bring the bolt carrier to me because they couldn't get the cotter pin back in. What were we talking about? Bolt carrier? Okay. I lost my train of thought on that. I'm sorry. Terry Baptist, you're putting together a jigsaw puzzle of your own with the Cobra Jet. Yes, that is true. Brian, also the Fairlane's coming along. Started unlocking the suspension. And Barry, if you still have that chin spoiler that you didn't use on Jade, I might want to buy it. Well, I do still have it. In fact, I don't know where it's at. It might be out in my shed. But yeah, I still have it. So you never know. Simone, when I was young, I was in the Army Cadets. I was allowed to work with the Bren machine gun, Lee Enfield 303 rifle, and the SA-80 rifle. Stripped clean and rebuilt all three in minutes. Yep. That's yeah. You learn a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's you got to learn it because you never know when it's going to be, you know, how important it's going to be down the road. Troy is saying to Leonard, my friend suggested southeast parts in Apopka, Florida. I don't know if this is too far for you. Wait a minute. What are we? Well, I know that Tommy was asking about the hoods. So is that what we're referring to? Or is there something that Leonard is looking for as well? Well, or am I confused? Yeah, Tommy's looking for the hood for the 59 Chevy, close to Alabama. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Troy said sorry, I meant Tommy. Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Leonard is saying he's on the West Coast. Joe Cox, hello Barry, hope all is well. What are the measures for the 289 badges on a 65 Mustang fenders? Good question. I have videos on that. I think. Did I put those on the car? No, I don't remember. I have it for them. I have it. Hold on. Let me think here. I have a video on putting the Mustang. Was the 289, was that on the front though? Was that on the front of the fender? Everything kind of rolls together. I know the 68, the emblem went in front of the Mustang. Gosh, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. Because I know I put them on. I did a video on, it was either the light blue Mustang or Mystique, where I did that. I placed those on the car, but I don't remember now. So I don't have an answer for you, Joe. Sorry, good question, but I don't have an answer. Terry says, "Do you still have the basket case Camaro?" Yes, I do. It's sitting outside under a tarp, along with the 68 blue Poco Camaro or Mustang, and the red 68 is under a tarp, and the 67 is still sitting out as well. Troy, sorry, I meant Tommy. Oh, sorry. Okay. C and J Hoyt, hello. Picked up a 66 Mustang Coupe to redo. Been watching your videos on a convertible you did. Don't have that kind of money to throw into it though. Well, you can still learn and take advantage of what I've shown. Tommy says I will check with Southeast Chevy parts for the hood. There you go. Steve's Money Pit. When the view is blocked, I keep tilting my phone to see what I can't see. Doesn't work. What are you trying to see? Or are you just trying to get a different perspective? Maybe I need to turn this camera a little bit so you can get a look at that. I got my light up here. Is that what you're trying to see? That's all you get. After that, you have to pay. Brian, seems I remember you watching you put on those lower fender badges on a 65. Yes. I know I did a video on the badges. I thought it was a light blue Mustang. But it might have been Mystique. So it would have been the Acapulco blue one. But one of those two, I show that stuff. And then I also did it on the 68. I showed the badging on that as well. So thank you, Brian. Leonard, remember you putting the quarter moldings, not the 289s. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. Because I think the 65 or 6 has the moldings up on the 289 up on the front of the fender. So really, you could probably just eyeball it. To be honest, I mean, who's going to judge it if you're not building a perfect show car or concours? You could probably look at one and then look at another and go, ooh, it went right about here. Because I think for the most part, that's kind of what they did back then. They had a template that they put up against the car and just drilled some holes and then put the thing on. So you will see variations on some of these, honestly. They do put them in different, slightly off. So if you can get it just close to where it needs to be. And what I normally do is I take masking tape, I cover up that area, and I take that emblem and I put it up against the masking tape. I get it where I want it, and then I gently push it against the masking tape so that it makes little kind of dimples on the tape, and that's where you drill. And the tape will help also kind of keep it from, maybe chipping your paint. But that's honestly what I would probably do is look at one or two, find some pictures online, and it says it goes right about here, and then go right about there and punch it in. Simone, I need to go to sleep now. Very struggling with the heat. Good night, everyone, and good to catch up again. Glad you're here, Simone. Get some rest. Try to stay cool. It's not easy. Terry Baptist, are you putting mini tubs in the Cobra Jet? Yes. I already have the kit, Detroit Speed, so I have to modify the frame rails in the back and make room for the mini tubs. And later on, my understanding is we're putting frame connectors in this car too. So there's a lot of things that are going to get all tied in together. So there's going to be a lot more cutting and fitting and blending and grinding and welding and all that fun stuff. Good question, Terry. Troy, good night. Good to have you. Oh, good to have you with us tonight. Okay, talking to Simone, I think. Brian, find a good photo, then just scale it. It's pretty easy. Yep, that's really all it takes. Those, like I said, they were not. You could probably compare 10 of them, and 7 of them might match each other. Just my opinion, but I know they didn't have a. Didn't have a robotic jig thing come out and clamped it in place, and it was some guy with maybe a piece of cardboard. Who knows? Put it up against the car and just punched it on. Leonard saying, "Stay cool," to Simone. Troy, I took the measurements for my 65, but it would take me a while to locate it. I will have it on the next live feed. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. If it's still needed. But as I was saying before, mini tubs are going in this car. The frame connectors, we're still narrowing down, I think, what we're going to be using for the frame connectors, and still narrowing down what's going to be used for the rear suspension. I know that we have new control arms and everything up front here to go in. Of course, the rack and pinion. New brake stuff coming in. And there's a whole bunch of pieces and parts. It has the E-Pass steering that's going into it. There is, oh gosh, there's, of course, all the sheet metal back there. But there's a bunch of other pieces and parts that maybe that's what I need to do, is just do a video of showing all of the pieces, because I can tell you that next week, like I'm working on a video for this week. I will be doing getting that together, but next week probably not going to be doing anything. It's time to take a break, so I don't know if I'll have a video out at all next week. Or what I might do is put together some sort of composite video for next week. But we'll see how that goes. We've got some stuff we're going to be doing, and just won't be able to do any filming, really. Let's see. Troy. Oh, yeah. He took the measurements. Don's Manufacturing. Hello, folks, from 87 Degrees PDX. Painting small parts today. So I'm going to assume, Dawn, that you didn't get your paint. Or did you? I don't know. I know you've been waiting for your paint to show up. PPG hasn't done their part. So I hope you got some paint. Robert says Spintech makes really nice fitting subframe connectors. Spintech. Never heard of them. Leonard says, "Don't burn yourself out." Yes, yeah. It's we haven't had a getaway in a couple years, so we're gonna be doing some stuff, and having a getaway, and that's we need to do that sort of thing. We really do. C&J Hoyt, I can run out and measure mine. It's a 66-289. If you want to, you can. It's up to you. You could take some pictures real quick, but It's totally up to you on that one. Terry says, "Do you have any favorite YouTube channels?" That is a good question, and for the most part, uh, I don't really watch a lot of videos. I'll just be honest. I don't have time, so it's hard for me to keep up with everything going on. Uh, when I sit down in the evening and I just want to kind of relax. We'll watch a movie or something, have some ice cream or whatever, and just so I don't really, I watch when I can. I watch what Robert does. I watch what Don does. Wally, his '68 Mustang restoration that he had going on. I would watch him. Of course, Grease Rookie Garage when he was doing his stuff. Um, but I really don't have uh, a lot that I can sit back and say, yeah, I watch. Like I don't watch Vice Grip Garage. I've seen some of Fitzy's work. I've seen a couple of Peterson's videos. Um, the what is it? The fireman has the '68 Camaro. I watched some of his stuff. Um, but yeah, it's tough for me to sit back and get into those sort of things. There's so much that I have to do on my side of that spectrum, creating the videos and editing videos and keeping up with so many things that I generally don't have time. Dawn's. Oh, okay. So Robert says Dawn's paint turned out really good. Okay, so I haven't even seen that yet. I'm not even up to date. And he says, yes, painted Betsy and turned out okay. All right, good. Dave Tyson going RVing. No, we're not. We're doing a trip with some friends. We have a group of friends we hang out with, and we've done excursions together. We've done a variety of things over the years. We've known each other as a group close to 30 years, and we're still friends, and we still like to be around each other. So we we planned this event for this coming week, and so I'm gonna have some people staying here at the house and just keeping an eye on things, and but we're gonna make a road trip. Is what we're doing. We're not taking the camper, we're not taking the RV, but we are making a road trip. One of the places that I know we're stopping, we're gonna go like to Nashville. Um, we're gonna end up at the um, Corvette Museum. We're gonna go there. Uh, some sort of Hall of Fame place. I don't even remember. There's a list of things that we're gonna kind of check off as we go. So I don't know if I'm gonna make any videos in that process. Um, I'm not even sure exactly how our schedule is gonna work out, but we're gonna be hanging out and then just kind of enjoying each other's company for a while. Out of Gas Garage. Long time since I watched it live. Visiting family in Canada, so I'm in the right time zone. Awesome. That is cool. It's your card, right? Yeah, it's your card. I believe it's your card. See, I remember those things. Michael Pagliarini, don't forget, it's very important to spend time with the family. Yes, I agree with that. Brian is saying, Robert, do you know if they make them for Fairlanes or just Stangs? Talking about the frame connectors, I think. Leonard, take the motorhome for a spin. Not quite ready. We still have to get supplies. Let's say, we need like a coffee maker. Got to have a coffee maker. Got to have a coffee maker, so I can take my favorite cup with me. Um, Plates, bedding, stuff. You just have to have all that stuff. The drain hoses, the water supply, the water pressure regulator, apparently, maybe a surge protector, blah, 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 blah. No, stuff all adds up. So I got to get all that together before we can actually take it on a trip. And when we do that, we're going to do something kind of local. just to get a feel for it, get used to it, and figure that out. Steve says, no, I was talking about head cam when you're working. Oh, what are we talking about, Steve? Yeah, I know you were talking about whenever sorry, when the view is blocked. Now I get it. See, you're way behind on the comments. That was at 7:37, and you're way down here at the bottom now. I'm out of sequence. Yeah, that was 10 minutes ago. Troy, I found it is okay. So if we're asking again about the measurements for the 289 emblems, Troy has it 5 3/8 from the front of the fender and 2 inches down from the body line. The holes are 2.5 inches apart. There you go. Just like that, there's an answer. There is an answer. So 5 3/8 from the front of the fender and 2 inches down from the body line. Thank you, Troy. Very good. Robert says, Brian, just 65 to 70 and 86 to 04 Mustang. Unfortunately, they fit nicely to the floor and look more factory as well. Okay. Well, we'll have to check those out. I know we're debating on what we're going to do for frame connectors. So, good information. Brian says, thank you. I think he's talking to Robert. And Ricard it is. Yes. I get a bell for that. Woohoo. Terry Boucher sounds like a really fun vacation. I hope so. Yeah, we're gonna be traveling. I think we're gonna stop at some place where the Wigwam Hotel or something. I don't know. I'm just like I'll be driving for the most part. That'll probably be my job, is to drive and get people there. So again, I know that Nashville is one stop. Some sort of Hall of Fame place. I don't know if we're going to try to see the Grand Ole Opry or any of that stuff. I don't know. I think there's going to be some sort of bourbon tour, bourbon something. I'm really bad about this. Generally, I'm going, normally I want to know exactly where I'm going and when. I'm very time oriented. I want to know this, that. And I've become to the point now where it's like, just tell me where we're going on the day we're going. Whatever. Just let me get me there and we'll go from there. Leonard, watching a guy from Australia restoring a Falcon Cobra XA that was totaled, and that's going to be a job. I'll bet. Yeah, because I don't know how many of those were made. I saw a story on the, if that's the same as the Mad Max car, I don't know. But they said they only made like 900 of those cars originally anyway, if I understood correctly. So, Jerry is saying to Robert, do you think the ignition switch for an 06 PT Cruiser is an easy swap out? And if so, is it done already? Asking for a friend. Hey, you know what? I have a video on that. Yeah. I have a video on doing that exact repair. Yeah. If it's the what do they call it? I can't remember the name of it. Actuator. If it's the actuator that's bad, I have a video on how to do that. So, Jerry, you could follow that video and fix it yourself. Just a thought. Just saying. It's a good video. You can, whoop, there you go. Bob, late from trying to clean up tree limbs after our Oklahoma windstorm. Okay, well, glad you're here, Bob. The Dutchman's Woodshack Inc. says howdy. Well, howdy to you, Dutchman Woodshack. Glad you're here. Evan's Garage. Hey, Barry. All very late to the party. Glad you're here, Evan. Dutchman, I have a '66 Mustang convertible 302. I have an issue with it overheating. Yeah, that's pretty much the norm. Most of them overheat. Um, Now, first question is, do you have a fan shroud? That's the first question. If you don't have a fan shroud, start there and see if that helps. Leonard says, stop at Crystal Burger. At Crystal Burger. We have a Crystal here. Is that something else? It's Crystal Burger. I don't know if that means something else. But we have Crystal here in Georgia. Robert says, when a certain place freezes over, I'll go outside and work on it. In the morning, it's a 10-minute swap when you get to test it out and be the guinea pig. Dutchman says, Mustangs, my man. Okay. Brian, a video on fixing the roof leak on the motorhome would be fun for your other channel, I think. That is probably eventually I'll get to that point. I will be doing that. In fact, I will be putting on on my other channel, I'm going to do videos about RVing, like taking it locally, setting it up on ramps, whatever we do with it, hooking up the water, just simple things like that. So there will be videos on that whole process. But yeah, there's probably going to come a time when I have to actually open things up and rebuild it, and that would be a pretty good video. There's a lot of them out there, though. Apparently, this is kind of the norm for these type of motorhomes. You know, they don't tell you that, but you start researching it, and you're like, oh, well, they all are built poorly and leak. So, Joe says, thanks for the measurements. Yeah, thank you to, I think it was Troy. I think it was Troy. Yeah. So Troy had given us the measurements. Good. Let's see. Brian, oh yeah, we did that. And Jerry is laughing. Yeah. Robert will probably give you the tools and everything. So here you go. Here's the tools. The Dutchman, I have an issue of running rough, but my compression is okay. 160. Well, running rough could be a variety of things as well. It could be timing. That is also relatable to getting it hot. So if you advance your timing, it'll run hotter. So that's a variable. You might have some, bad spark plugs or something along those lines. But fan shroud is a pretty important thing to have on the car. Leonard says yes, it is, and only 756 is what they said were built. Okay. Yeah, I heard the number was very low. And also, I didn't realize this, that the original Mad Max car is in Florida. It's in Orlando at a car museum in Florida. I did not know that. Interesting story behind all that car and what all it went through. Basically, they were going to scrap it. And some people at the scrapyard realized what it was and was like, no, we can't scrap that car. Jerry says, I would, but I think I need to feed my cats. Yeah. Well, you can take the cats out there with you. They like to be in hot cars. They really enjoy that. Greg's Workshop. Hi, Barry. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, Greg. Glad you're here. He's checking in from down under. The Dutchman, do the Grand Ole Opry. It's worth it. Love Nashville. Yeah, I've been to Nashville once before. My wife hasn't, so it'll be a new experience for her. And maybe that's what we're going to be doing. I don't know. Maybe that's what is that what. Maybe that's what HOF means. I thought that meant Hall of Fame, because there's a list of what we were doing. I don't know where that list went. So again, I'm not really. I'm just kind of supervising. I think for the most part. Let me see if I can find that pretty quick here. Nope, that's not it. Um, Gosh, what was it? Um, yeah, I don't know what HOF means. I don't know what that means. Hall of Fame? I think it means it's something with the Hall of Fame. Something. Hall of Fame. Yeah, we have. I think we're gonna end up at Dollywood at some point too. So that'll be fun. See if I don't pass out on a roller coaster. You know, when I was a kid, I think most of us can relate to this. I hope when you're a kid and they strap you on a roller coaster, you don't think anything of it. Yeah. Oh yeah. This high school dropout is hooking me up on a roller coaster that does loops and flips and jumps and whatever. You don't think nothing of it is when you're 12. You're like, yeah, bring it on. And you start getting, 20 or okay, yeah. You get, maybe 30 or so. You're like, oh, maybe, okay, I'll do it. You get up in your 50s and you're watching some flunky hook up the straps on you, and you're like, I don't know that I trust that. And I'll be honest, I went to, just since I brought it up, Six Flags over Georgia. We went there. I bet you it was probably well over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And I don't like there's a ride called Batman the Ride. It is a cool ride. I'll say that it is cool. It is, but um, it's one of those rides where you strap in, you're sitting, and then the whole thing rotates, and it's like you're flying. Maybe it's Superman. I don't know, whatever it was, but it's like you're flying. They tilt you over and stuff. And the week before we went, I read a story about some kid who had gotten on one of those rides, and the seat opened up, and he was thrown to the ground and killed. I was already kind of paranoid about this thing anyway, which is ridiculous. But I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go. So we get on that ride, and I'm not kidding you. My wife was sitting right next to me. You got this pull down, big heavy thing that latches onto you, right? And I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. Had this thing locked in. Okay, I get that. I want that shoulder thing. Throw an extra lap belt in there. Do something. Put as many harnesses on me as you want. I don't care. All you get is this big heavy thing that comes down and it locks it in, right? So we're taking off. We're starting to go up the incline, and I'm sitting there, and I was just kind of playing with that, like feeling it that it was latched, and I am not kidding. I went like that, and it opened up. We are halfway up the incline, and my seat opened up. And you know what? There's no warning systems on the roller coaster that tells the operator something's wrong, right? All you get is the go button, and you're off. And I grabbed that thing and I slammed it back into the receptacle. And I'm trying, because I was getting ready. I was telling my wife I was going to jump. I was fighting with that thing to see if it would open back up, and it didn't. But I was scared to death. That thing, I held in. I was like, and all your weight is against that thing. And I held on as tight as I could, and I was scared to death. I will never, ever get on one of those rides again. I mean, but since then, we have gone on other rides where it's a similar strap, but the weightless thing, and you're going over hills or you're doing a loop. And the last time I went was, again, probably 8 years ago or something. And I took my daughter and some of her friends. We all went together. I was supervising, and we got on one of the rides. I don't know what it was called, and it had a lot of G forces. And I'm freaking out because I'm worried about who built this thing and how did they put it together, and are the welds right? And in the middle of that thing, I'm like, I'm holding on, holding my breath, and all of a sudden I see the tunnel vision. Everything starts going dark. And then we'd come out of the loop, whatever, and it would get bright again, and then we'd go back. Luckily, I never passed out, but I get really apprehensive with some of these rides. I could tell you that because I actually saw, not to make it any worse, but at a county fair, I saw somebody fall out of a ride and die when I was like probably 9. A girl in this thing, whatever it was doing, she got thrown out of it, hit the ground, blood everywhere. Yeah. So I don't ride any rides at a fair. No, 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 no. No, I'll stay back. I don't want to go in near any of that stuff. So, anyway, Greg's Workshop. Hi, Greg. Glad you're here. Steve's Money Pit. Sorry I was driving. Had to message at lights. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. And he's home now. Okay. That makes up for it. You're forgiven. Rick, did the dealer offer to fix the damage caused by the water in the motorhome? If so, did they give you a price? Just curious what they would charge. Well, I don't think they had any intention of actually fixing it. They hid the damage. I'm pretty confident they hid the damage that was there. So if they would have wanted to fix it, they would have fixed it. Basically, they asked me what they thought it would cost to fix, and I was like, I don't know. I just threw some numbers out there, and then they came back with a counter offer. Well, if we took off X number of dollars, would you take it? And I said no, but I'll take it off for my X number of dollars, and they agreed to that. So they knew it was there, and they had no intention of fixing it, at least not the right way. Excuse me. Nick is here. Glad you're here, Nick. Hope all is well with you. Jerry says, I lived in National Cup for a couple of years. Many years ago, I loved it. Okay. Yeah, I've only, like I said, I went to Nashville, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly. We had a good time. It was a reunion with a bunch of my Army buddies. So we had a good time. Terry Baptist, the Bullet Mustang jump car was found in Mexico. I had heard about that before. They talked about one of these other, the other cars, and I don't know. I guess it's there. I don't know. That's been in the news it was in the news a few years ago or a couple of years ago when they were selling the movie Bullet car. So I don't know what they're going to do with it, but actually I've already seen that they had replaced panels and been working on it. So I don't know what the status is right now. Brian, a lean condition can equal overheating and a rough idle. Yes. Good point, Brian. Steve Grimes, Country Music Hall of Fame is in Nashville. That's what it is. That's where we're going. It's some sort of Hall of Fame. It could be baseball. I don't know. We're going to the Hall of Fame for country music. Rick says, hey, Barry, stop picking on the poor cats. I'm not picking on the cats. I have a cat right here. My cat's right there. Nick says, my car finally goes to paint this week. Okay, well, that's a good thing. I did see on your Instagram, you had a picture of the nose assembly and all that stuff. It was looking really good. Looking really good. Robert says, I have no desire to be beat up on roller coasters and other rides. I'll admire the engineering from the ground. I will say this. I do like the new roller coasters where it is really smooth, when the transitions are nice. And there's one at Six Flags. I don't know what it's called. Great American Scream Machine, I think is what it used to be called. And I think they called it that because it hurt. You weren't screaming because you were having fun. You were screaming because you were in pain. It had flat wooden benches in it, and it would just beat you to death. I rode that, like I said, about 8 or 10 years ago. I said, nope, I'm never getting on that thing again. Leonard, I'm with you, Robert. My six stays on the ground. Okay. Jerry, my roller coaster days have long since passed. Yeah. Nick says busting out the ratchet straps. Yeah, I would, man. if it were up to me, I'd have all kinds of straps. When I race stock cars, you're putting in a 5 point harness. I had a helmet with back then we didn't have the Hans device or any of that stuff, but you had a foam pad you put on, try to protect yourself as much as you could, roll cage and all that stuff. You get on a roller coaster and it's like, okay, who really inspected this last? Did they even look at this stuff, or is it just all the bolts look like they're there? Let's go. Kind of like building a mini sub, going down to look at the Titanic. Yeah, that guy. He decided, I can do this. I don't need any safety people. I don't need any doubters. Man, I can build this myself, and we'll go down and see the Titanic. We all know how that ended. And I hate it for them. I hate it for those passengers. I hate it for the people that went along for the ride. I wouldn't have felt so bad if it was the guy that built it and it did it to him. But those poor people that were along for the ride, yeah, brutal. Next says that's not going anywhere. Yeah. CNJ, come on, you live only so long. Let's have fun. Oh yeah, I'm all for having fun, but I'd rather have fun at the shooting range. That's part of the thrill. No, it is. Like I said, when you're 20 to 30, yeah, it's all part of the thrill. Ricardo roller coaster derailed in Sweden a few days ago, and a 35-year-old woman was killed. See, it's not just me. It's not just here. I don't want to tell you about all the dangers of it. Dave Britton. Hi, all. How did they try to hide the problem on the motorhome? Well, they actually, internally, there was the upper deck. There's like a hard floor. And then there's supposed to be, a floor piece or curved piece that goes up into the top. And they had worked on it, and they put the cushion up in there and tried to make sure I didn't look under the cushion, is really what it comes down to. So as I was looking at everything, because I like to dig into stuff, I grabbed that whole big heavy cushion thing, and when I pulled on it to get it out of there, the guy that was with me, which is their maintenance guy, he's like, if they ask, you did that on your own. I didn't tell you to pull that off. I knew right then they knew something was up. So I pulled that out, and they had put 2 layers of a laminate, I don't know what you call it. It's like a hardy board, like for a bathroom, it has a white shiny material. They had put 2 layers of that up on top, and then as it went forward, there was awkward trim pieces that didn't match. And there was they put some foam in there, and they put some little like wood pieces of strips on top of all that. I dug all that out of there. I pulled it up, pulled it loose. I said, yeah, all this is bad, and they were like, I didn't know. I was like, yeah, you knew. So they were trying to hide it. Robert, hoping that we wouldn't pull up the mattress above the cab, and there were some odd materials used there too. Yeah, that's exactly right. Terry, did you hear about what happened to Ocean Gate Titan submersible? Yeah, that's what we were just referring to. Yeah. And here's the thing with that, Terry. That guy, he didn't want to hire. He said it specifically, and I'll just say what he said, basically. I don't want any 50-year-old white men out here tell me what to do, is what he was saying. What he was really implying was the 50-year-olds that he was referring to were ex-military, like engineers who had experience with all these other things. He was using this broad term on those guys. He said, I'm not going to hire those people because they don't have any new ideas or something to that effect. It's like, wait a minute. They may not have new ideas, but they have tried and true ideas. They understand. And he builds this thing. And yeah, it worked. But it has life cycles, just like everything else. Airplanes. Yeah, they'll keep flying. but they get pressurized and depressurized over and over and over and over and over. And I know we used to have airplanes out in the hangar at Delta, and they would have X-ray machines out there, X-raying every single panel on that thing, checking for any distortions or cracks. So when they were doing this little sub thing, somebody told him, he said, "Yeah, what you built is good for about 8 dives." I think is what they said, 8 to 10. And they had exceeded the life limits of that submersible. And so those people who were riding along, they paid the price for that guy's pride and lack of, let's say, trusting other people. So anyway, I'll get off my horse. Greg's Workshop. Barry, I still won't get on a roller coaster. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Nick, I was talking with some buddies on a podcast and called that immediately. I was like, carbon has no give. It works or it doesn't. They found it doesn't, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I knew in my mind whenever they said they lost contact with them. If you lost contact with those people, it's unlikely that you're going to make new contact. There's something going on. So I had a feeling it was over. Robert says there's a reason that deep sea subs have a sphere for the people area and not a soda can shape. Yes. Although they have improved that technology as well. I think there's others that were similar in design and that were much tougher than that thing. But I don't know for sure. I haven't kept up with any of that. Next says that's part of the desirability of carbon drive shafts. When they fail, they explode instead of beating things up. Well, I guess that makes a point. Michael, so is listening for the gong at 500 yards. Yes. Dong. We have a ringer. Yep. Rick, did they make a 2-piece fan shroud for the Mustangs so one does not have to remove radiator hoses in order to install it? I don't think so. I think they only have the 1-piece shroud that I know of. Dave, everything you said about rides, I completely agree. Please tell my wife she thinks I'm being paranoid. I'm telling you. When I rode that thing, whatever, Batman or whatever it was, and that harness came open, I was ready to just dive off of that thing. I really was. Nick, for his hubris. Very good. Good word. Dave, when I get on a ride, I start thinking of every nut and bolt and the lack of attention people pay to their work. Believe me, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. Next is, that submersible that James Cameron took to the bottom of the Marianas Trench was tubular. Just carbon and bonding it to different materials with different expansion rates is silly. Yes. And that's, people don't realize how much, I'm sure he had calculations and did math and formulas and all those sort of things that tell you, hey, you need this much material to withstand this much pressure at this depth and all those sort of things. However, you can only do it so many times. There's one-off vehicles that have been made throughout, like the aircraft industry. They make one jet, they test it. Talking about like fighter jets and that sort of thing, and the thing falls apart, and they're like, "Well, that didn't work. Let's make a better one." They do other things. They don't just keep bringing that one back in, expecting it to perform, repeat performance over and over. They say, "Well, okay, this is what's wrong. Let's redesign this." And this guy, I don't know for sure. I'm sure he had some sort of engineering background and whatever, but. Yeah, that's one piece of fate that you don't want to play with. It's one thing to be like let's say you're flying an experimental airplane, and maybe you have a parachute, maybe, or maybe the plane has a parachute, right? Because they do that. They put parachutes on the plane. But when you're whatever 10,000 feet deep in the ocean, if I remember correctly, I saw a video, and this doctor science guy, he said that you're at 600 pounds per square inch. 600, no, 6,000. 6,000, I think it was. I think it's what the number was. And he said, the human body is so many square inches, blah, blah, blah. So you do the math, and it's like, okay, this is what would be pressing on you at this point. And what he explained was, in this case, let's say you're whatever depth, 10,000 feet, and the pressure is astronomical, and you get that failure. He said basically that compression and expulsion of you, the flesh, whatever's left of you at that point. He said not only is it like a rapid pressurized spray of what's left of you, but he also pointed out that I think he said because of that rapid movement, it generates something like 10,000 degrees of heat in that instant. So whatever goes through that fissure is also cooked at the same time. And they're not going to find anything of these people. They're not going to find anything. They're not going to be able to go, oh, there's a finger. Nope. Those people are just, they said it would turn it into gel, like a jelly, just. And he pointed out, he says, those people are now part of the ecosystem. Fish food, basically. And it, like I said, it is very unfortunate because they're along for the ride. It's out of their hands. And the guy that built the thing, honestly, I wouldn't have felt so bad if it was just him. But these other people went along and they're gone forever. Busted Knuckle Tommy, the school fits inside the radiator hose. Have to remove the fan, though. The shroud is what he's saying. The shroud fits inside the radiator hose. Have to remove the fan. Okay. 67 Mustang Coupe restoration. Glad you're here. Even if they had just broke down next to the Titanic, I highly doubt there's a boat in the area with a 2-mile-long cable and a hook that could hoist them out of the water. You know what's interesting? The U.S. Navy actually has something, and they recovered. What did I hear? I thought I heard them an article that they did recover something at 20,000 feet. 20,000. I don't know for sure. But again, it was a hook cable and went down. But like you're saying, in this case, based on what I saw of the designs of this thing, is there even someplace they could put a hook, to try to get it back out of there? There's just no recovery. Robert, the bottom of the ocean is the hardest place for people to go to. Space is far easier to build craft to survive in. 14 psi in space versus 5,000 plus psi difference in pressure. Yeah. Poof. And the other thing, too, they pointed out that the what did I say? The decompression or compression, whatever, would have happened so fast that their brain would not have even processed it. It would have been poof, like a magic show, gone, nanosecond. And then they said usually even like our normal vision, I think they said it takes like 13 nanoseconds or something like that for you to register what you just saw. So these people they didn't have a clue. Now they're visiting the Titanic in person, so to speak. Steve, I love coasters, but my bones don't anymore. Yeah. That's where you need the virtual reality ones. You just put the headphone on or the iSet thing on and just kind of sit in the chair, Robert says, how much does a 2 mile cable weigh though? Yeah, that is true. A lot. It is a lot. A lot. But the weight reduces in the water, right? It gets lighter. Yeah. Terry Baptist, they are with Jesus now. Yep. Yep. Heck of a way to go. At least it didn't hurt. There's no way it hurt. Poof. Done. Nick says the same company is going to send someone out with a rod and reel to recover the sub. Yeah. It's kind of like, and this is may not be a fair example, but there are people that pay a lot of money to climb Mount Everest, right? To climb Mount Everest. To say, I did it. I'm one of X number of people to ever climb it. But you take that route and you go up Mount Everest, and what do they have? There's bodies up there. Guys, maybe women too, I don't know. But people that didn't make it, they use them as landmarks. Say, okay, yeah, there's Redcoat. We know we're halfway there. That's where he died. We left him. And there's some people up there from like the 40s or something that are still embedded in the ice. And they just go, yep, there he is. There's Hank. That's where he ended up. And they use them as reference points. And, these people pay all this money to do this stuff to end up, some of them just die up there. That's kind of how it is with this sub. Might as well leave it down there. Whatever pieces are there, you're not going to gain anything from getting them back. It's now part of the process. Say, up. If anybody else ever goes back, say, yeah, that's where that sub was. It was right there next to the Titanic. Put a marker on it. And J.C. Meyer says it's a lot. Talking about the weight of the cable. Yeah. Well, you just make it hollow. Make it a hollow cable. That's all you have to do. Mix air tubes in with it. Pump air into it. Make the whole thing. But you have to have it heavy enough to go down too. So you got to be careful with that. Rick says we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the floor of the ocean. Yep. That's what they tell us anyway. I believe that for the most part, because they talk about the limited accessibility of the ocean. And I'm sure all of us can sit back, and it's hard for us to imagine the scale of the oceans. Like, even if you went to the Great Lakes and you see the Great Lakes and they have waves on them, they have tremendous storms on the Great Lakes, and that is a fresh body of water, and you can't see the other side. We're talking miles and miles and miles. And then put that in perspective, the ocean, not only is it hundreds and thousands of miles from one point of land to another, but the depth is just unbelievable. It's just crazy. And so, like we're saying, it's hard to even recognize what it takes to get down there and see those things. I will say, though, I like to see those videos where they send something down, whether it's people or a submersible of some sort, and you see some sort of absolute alien fish swimming around in front of the camera, and you're like, we don't even know what's all down there. We don't even know. And you see those things, those creatures, and at some aspect you can say, well, you know what? Maybe those were the aliens that came to visit us. They're all living in the bottom of the ocean. We wouldn't know the difference. Nick, the Titanic is as deep, I guess, as 20 St. Louis arches. The Titanic would be a dot in the sky that far up. Yeah. Yeah. I rode on that arch. Gosh. Close to 10 years ago? Is that right? Maybe? 8 years ago? I don't know. But we went for a ride on that. So, and the arch is 630 feet tall for anyone not from St. Louis. Yeah, I do recommend if you go there to take a ride on that thing. It is a very interesting ride. I think you get like 4 people in a pod, and if I remember correctly, it's like self leveling, and the whole thing rides up to the top, and you can get off and look out. It's a really amazing sight to see. So good comment, Nick. Thank you for that. Okay, we've gone off several different tangents here, but hey, I think it's all good. Transportation. We're talking about transportation still. Okay, I can feel it's already getting rough on my voice. I know I've been talking a lot, um, and I think we touched on some subjects here. We did get some input on some different things, frame connectors, the 289 emblems, a few other things that were brought up, and I think it's been a good conversation. I'm glad Ricard was here. I haven't seen him in a while, so glad he showed up. And even J.C. Meyer. I don't know if I've seen that name before, but I know I hope I gave you a bell. Um, Terry Baptist. I heard the Titanic was as long as the Empire State Building. It may be. It may very well be. Anyway, I will not be back here. I will not be here next Monday. I don't know if I'm going to be making. I may make some other videos next week, depending. I might go to the Corvette Museum and film there. Who knows what I may do in the meantime, but plan on being back here in 2 weeks, and of course it'll be a new month, and we can see what we can talk about then. So again, thanks for being here, and I hope you have a happy 4th of July. Be safe, you know. Don't hand somebody a firework and say, "How long can you hold on to this?" No, no. Everybody come back. Have your fingers, all that stuff working. So be safe out there. Take care of each other. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.